In this video, I'm going to show you how simple it is for any chef to start a cooking show if you're really serious about teaching people how to live better by eating healthy. I'm going to do this without even cooking because that's how easy it is to educate people about food and have a positive impact on their health if you're really serious about being a food educator. You don't need any special camera equipment or a fancy kitchen to simply teach people how to make better food choices. You can just go on a simple grocery store run and use the smartphone you already have with you to teach people how to improve their health by making better food choices. We're going to start by taking a look at two pasta sauces. Spaghetti is a popular dish in many households, so pasta sauce is an easy way to have a big impact on people's health. The two brands we're going to take a look at are Ragu and a brand that I'm just becoming familiar with called Rouse. Let's look at the ingredients list. For Rouse, we have Italian whole peeled tomatoes, olive oil, onions, basil, salt, garlic, black pepper, and oregano. That's really what you're looking for in a food label, an ingredients list that you can duplicate in your home. That's one of the signatures of ultra-processed food, is that it has an ingredients list that you cannot duplicate in your home kitchen. Well, what you see here on this Rouse ingredients list is simple ingredients. You know what they are. This is something that you could duplicate in your home kitchen. Now let's take a look at the Ragu ingredients list, and we see tomato puree. So they're starting tomato sauce off, and the first ingredient is not even tomatoes. With Rouse, we start with Italian whole peeled tomatoes. That's the first ingredient. With the Ragu, the first ingredient is tomato puree. Tomato puree, water, tomato paste, crushed tomatoes and puree, tomatoes, tomato puree, salt, olive oil, sugar, dried onions, spices, and natural flavor. That natural flavor is problematic. Most people have no idea, none of us knows what's in it because it's intended to be that way. It looks simple and innocent enough, but natural flavor is one of those food additives that's in everything, and we don't know what's in it. It's in fact the fourth most common food additive. Salt, sugar, fat are the top three, and then natural flavor is number 4. Well, what's in natural flavor? We don't know because they don't have to tell us. It's basically, in simple terms, to be able to label something as natural flavor, it just has to be derived from some ingredient, has to be natural. So think of it like if you squeeze 1 drop of lemon juice into a gallon of water and call that lemonade, because the rule says that if you got 1 drop of lemon juice in it, you can call it lemonade. That's effectively what natural flavor is. It can have just a tiny fraction of something natural that it started with, and then it can be entirely composed of other things, chemicals that they've created in their food labs, and they still get to call it natural flavor. So we're consuming who knows what. They don't have to tell us. Again, this is the 4th most common ingredient in our food. Go through your cupboard, go through your pantry, and see how many ingredients, how many products you have that have natural flavor as an ingredient, and then do your research and try to see what's in natural flavor, and you're not going to like what you find. And as a chef, this is food education that it's your job to deliver. If it's not your job, whose job is it? We're in a full-on food crisis, a public health crisis because of our food in the United States, and we need food education. And if our chefs are not delivering that food education, who's going to do it? So now let's take a look at a good old-fashioned American staple, chicken soup. It is chicken noodle soup. It's wintertime where I am. We got snow on the ground. It's cold season, and chicken noodle soup is a staple in many homes. And so let's take a look at a popular brand that everybody knows, Campbell's, and let's look at what's in the Campbell's chicken noodle soup versus the Rouse chicken noodle soup. So let's start with this label, because this Campbell's got to be healthy, right? Because they got healthy on here twice on the front of the label. Healthy request, heart healthy, so healthy, healthy, healthy. That's the message they're trying to convey to you. Now let's turn this can around and see what's on the back in terms of the ingredients. Oh, here we go again at the top. hearty, and healthy. So healthy 3 times. Healthy, healthy, healthy. That's the message that they're trying to drum into your head, that this is healthy. So I went through this ingredients list, and I'm doing this as I'm standing in the aisle in the grocery store. And what I'm looking at or looking for is, what can I see on here that's problematic? Because I know with ultra processed food being 60 to 80% of the calories that we consume on a daily basis as Americans, there's something in here that's problematic. If it's from a major food manufacturer, there's something in there that's problematic. So I said, okay, let me just figure out which one of these ingredients is problematic. And so I went through the list, and what I landed on is flavoring. I tried to look up flavoring. I'm right there in the aisle with my phone. Just went on and did an internet search to see what does the flavoring ingredient mean, because again, that's one of those innocent looking terms, innocent looking ingredients, which is a giveaway for the food industry, the food company trying to hide something from you. So I'm looking up what is flavoring, and what I came across was one of the articles I came across had carrageenan in it, which I was not familiar with that term, but I just knew it from a few seconds earlier having scanned it on this can. And I'm like, okay, carrageenan is in this soup. Let me see what this is. And here's what healthline.com lists for carrageenan, and I'll put a link to this article in the description box. Carrageenan, derived from red seaweed. Carrageenan acts as a thickener, emulsifier, and preservative in many food products. Common sources of carrageenan include almond milk, cottage cheese, ice cream, coffee creamers, and dairy-free products like vegan cheese. For decades, there have been concerns about the safety of this common food additive and its potential effects on health. One animal study showed that exposure to carrageenan increased levels of fasting blood sugar and glucose intolerance, especially when combined with a high-fat diet. Test tube and animal studies have found that carrageenan triggered inflammation as well. Carrageenan is also believed to negatively impact digestive health and may be associated with the formation of intestinal ulcers and growths. Damn, Campbell's. Do you really have to put carrageenan in our chicken noodle soup? People are just automatically conditioned to get chicken noodle soup for somebody who's feeling under the weather, or yourself when you're feeling under the weather. And Campbell's is one of those old brands that should be a trusted brand, but really, if this is what they're putting in the chicken noodle soup, why should we trust them? Like, this is, when you look at the safety concerns about this ingredient, you got to ask yourself, why in the hell are they putting this in the chicken noodle soup? There's not a grocery store in the United States that doesn't have Campbell's soup in it, and especially chicken noodle soup. This is a staple. They're feeding this to all of us. Why? Clearly, this is a problematic ingredient. Why are they feeding this to us? Because it's all about money. All they care about is making more profit this quarter than they made the last quarter, and more profit next quarter than they made this quarter. And so that's how you get these companies putting these type of additives in our food, and it's making us all sick. You getting some chicken noodle soup for somebody who's feeling under the weather, and you giving them a damn ulcer because carrageenan is in it. This is why we have the health problem that we have in the United States, the public health crisis that we're in, because we are consuming these types of food additives all day, every day, without realizing it. It's in everything, and this stuff is impacting our health, and then you end up going to the doctor and having to get a prescription for whatever because of the conditions that have been created by the food that you're eating. You can try to eat healthy and still not be eating healthy, and that's one of the big messages that I want to impart to the chefs that I'm talking to, because that's who I've created this video for. I'm talking to you, chef. People can go to the grocery store and think they're making a healthy choice. Like I showed you with this one can of soup, they got healthy on the front of the label twice and got it on the back also, three times healthy, healthy, healthy. And then we look at the ingredients list and you see something like carrageenan, which has no place in any food product ever. Why would you put something like that in our food? And people will make better choices if they understand that they need to make better choices. They need to take care of themselves because the government is not going to do it. The government is allowing this. Let's look at the ingredients list for Rouse. Chicken broth, chicken, carrots, enriched curly noodle, durum semolina wheat, egg white, niacin, ferrous sulfate, thiamine mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid. Celery, onions contains 2% or less of food starch, olive oil, sea salt, chicken fat, garlic, potassium chloride, spices, Parmesan cheese, milk, cheese culture, salt, enzymes. So I looked up various ingredients on the list, the things that I didn't know, and I don't see anything problematic. Again, I'm not the most qualified, I'm the least qualified person to be educating people about food, but I at least have made an effort. I can read and do some basic internet research and share what I know, but the food industry professionals, talking to you, chef, who can look at this ingredients list and know exactly what's on there and what those things are, I'm challenging you to step up and do this education that you see me doing here. Take people on a grocery store run using your smartphone. Teach them the difference between the Campbell's chicken noodle soup and the Rouse chicken noodle soup or whatever brand. Like, show them that there's a significant difference in the impact on your health of one versus the other. We are in desperate need of food education in the United States, and if it's not your job to do it, whose job is it? So part of this also that we have to discuss is price, because there's a significant price difference here, and we're not going to talk around it. We're going to address it. So going back to the marinara sauce, I got the Ragu for $3.50, and the Rouse sauce cost $7. So that's half price or double the price, depending on how you want to look at it. The Ragu is half the price of the Rouse, or the Rouse is twice the price of the Ragu. And for the chicken noodle soup, I got the Campbell's chicken noodle soup for $2. I got the Rouse chicken noodle soup for $4. So again, it's a half or a double. The Campbell's version was half the price of the Rouse version. That's a big deal for some people. It's not a big deal for others. For me, fortunately, the difference in the cost between the Campbell's chicken soup and the Rouse chicken noodle soup, the $2 difference, for me, that's not a big deal. For the health impact that the difference between the two is, I can just pay the $2 to get the Rouse. There's plenty of people for whom that's the case, and it's really just a matter of education, teaching them that, hey, this Campbell's has some problematic ingredients in it. You want to take a look at Rouse, and they have the money and can just simply make a better choice because they can afford to. There are many more people who cannot make that choice, that cannot just simply buy the healthier option because they don't have the money. I'm thinking about a mother who has 3 people to feed and $5 to do it with. She's got to feed herself and 2 little people. With that $5, she can get 2 cans of the Campbell chicken noodle soup, and that's enough servings for the 2 little people to eat and for mama to eat something too. With Rouse, that $5 buys only 1 jar of the chicken noodle soup, so that's really not a choice. She really doesn't have a choice. She's got to go with the less healthy option. Or does she? Because, can you teach her how to stretch her budget by preparing more of her own meals for herself and her family? Can you teach her how to make a big pot of chicken soup and then portion it up and freeze it so that now you have you have a chicken soup that costs you a lot less than what you could buy either from Campbell's or from Rouse? And it's not, I know it's not simple buying all the ingredients that are necessary for chicken soup, for folks on low income, but I'm challenging you, chef, to figure out some solutions for them. Like, people like to vilify the folks that's on the SNAP program and other public assistance programs but I don't necessarily see a lot of people offering any kind of food education, like teaching people how to work communally, for example. Maybe one person uses their SNAP benefits to buy a big bag of rice, and another person uses their SNAP benefits to buy a big bag of beans, and they get home and they divide it up. You take half the beans, I take half the rice. And if you add a third person into it, they can buy another quantity of something in bulk, and they portion it up that way, and then that's bringing the price down for everybody. So now, teaching people how to create a real pantry where you have food, products, ingredients that you can cook with and make whatever you want, as opposed to what has become what people think of a pantry is really just shelves in your home full of ultra processed foods, cans of stuff, boxes of stuff, and rather than real ingredients, a jar of beans, a jar of rice, a jar of pasta sauce that you made when tomatoes were in season, and you either grew some yourself or you got them from the farmer's market or whatever. These are things that, creative ways that you as a chef can teach people how to stretch food, how to eat healthy and bring down the cost. I get so many folks who contact me with, they want to run down their resume of all their credentials. I've done this and that and worked here, and I was educated here at this culinary institute, and I've run this many kitchens and done this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so what are you doing to help people solve the dinner problem on a daily basis, particularly folks who don't have much money? What are you doing to apply all your culinary talents to help real people eat healthy food on a regular basis, making that affordable to them? That's what you can impress me with. I'm not impressed by the dinners, the meals that you can prepare and serve at the most expensive restaurants in the world. Okay, what did you really accomplish there? But if you can help that mom who's got 3 people to feed and $5 to do it with, if you can help her prepare something nutritious for all of them, that is impressive. And that's what I'm challenging chefs to do. We need more food education. And again, if it's not your job to do it, whose job is it? I would like to see you using your food channel, because I want you to think bigger than just a cooking show, but think of your YouTube channel as a food TV channel, food education channel, whatever you want to call it, is bigger than just your cooking show. I would like to see you teaching people the importance of going to the farmer's market and meeting the people where your food comes from and learning where it comes from and getting really healthy stuff that doesn't have the treatments that the food that goes into our standard grocery stores have. Go to the farmer's market, meet the farmers. Some people have the ability to create their own garden, a small garden, and it's not going to be able to grow everything in it. But years ago, I did an interview with this was back when I ran a photography business, even before I got into doing cooking shows. I did an interview with a farmer who specialized in teaching people how to create small farm plots, and her name is Linda Borgie, and she's this fantastic soul. And I'm gonna put in a clip from that interview, and then also link to in the description box to the full interview so you can check it out, because Linda's fantastic. But what she teaches, it was small plot farming. So basically, groups of people, everybody can grow something different in their yard, and then they work together. So in your yard, you might be able to grow tomatoes and cucumbers, and then your neighbor, a couple of doors down or whatever, maybe they can grow cabbage or whatever. Everybody grows something different, and then any garden, you're going to produce more food than you can eat. So you guys work together. You provide your neighbor with some tomatoes, they provide you with some cabbage, somebody else provides you with some corn, and you guys can do it that way, and it's very inexpensive to do. So that type of creative thinking and just working together to produce a more healthy food system for a local food system, that's the kind of thing that you can do with your food TV channel. But let me put Linda in here real quick so you can hear from her and let her explain how that works.
We have to learn how to grow soil. We grow soil, everything else grows.
So take us through that. Let's
Okay.
say there's someone who has a decent backyard and they're looking to start growing some of their own food and they have no experience whatsoever. Where do they start?
Okay. I'm going to give you some very basic, easy steps. The first thing that you want to do is ponder, what do you like to eat? Right? If you don't like to eat tomatoes, then we're not going to look for a plot that would be good for tomatoes, which would be full sun. But if you love those greens, well, yeah, that dappled shade under the tree is good. So, step one is, what do you want to grow? What do you like to eat? What does your family like to eat? Then, what you need to do is take a look at your property, and based on the things that you like to grow and like to eat, you do a little bit of investigation. As my son would say every time I asked him a question, Ma, Google it. So you Google, how do you grow a tomato? What does it need sun? Does it need shade? That's all you need to know. Then you're going to take a look at that property and you're going to make a sun map. Now, don't get afraid. It's really easy. You're going to draw a little square. Okay, this is where I want to grow it. Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. The sun is here. Okay, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. The sun is here. 12 o'clock here. Because, it moves, right? So now you know how many hours of sun, direct sun, you'll get. Okay, I want you to not have fear of growing too much. You can actually sell your extra produce to your neighbors.
Ah,
Everything is $5. You choose what size basket and what goes in it.
okay.
You take a picture. So that is a way that neighborhoods can be self-sufficient, because Harry's place really grows great tomatoes. And Lucy, she's got the shade for the lettuce. So within a neighborhood, you could have all of your needs taken care of.
So again, I will put a link to the full interview with Linda in the description box. It's absolutely worth watching. She's just fantastic and so knowledgeable. She just wants to help people, and we need more people to do what she's doing in teaching. And I'm talking to you, Chef. We really gotta slow things down in America when it comes to food. This now culture has, fast food is not good food. And anything that you can grab and eat within 30 seconds, that's just, that's not good for you. And so some people don't understand that. They don't know that. Now, when people are willing to make these unhealthy choices, they're knowledgeable and they make the unhealthy choice, that's their decision. But the problem is folks just don't understand, especially when it comes to their children. A lot of parents, Lunchables should not exist. A lot of parents are sending their kids off to school with these Lunchables, for example, and if they really understood what was in it, no parent would feed that to their child. That's an example of the type of education that it's really your job to do, Chef. Teach people what's in this stuff and teach them how they can make a safer alternative, a healthier alternative themselves. We have to understand the real world constraints. Everybody's busy, the time constraint, but we also have to understand and accept that we're going to have to slow things down a bit when it comes to our food. Otherwise, the only options we're leaving ourselves are toxic. Fast food is not good food. So let's bring back the days of, you can't stay in the kitchen all day cooking. Nobody can do that. But maybe Sunday is the day that we do meal preparation for the week. And it's not a task that falls on mom. This is a family task. This is family time where we come together. Food is bringing us together, not just when it's on the table, but in the process of preparing it. Any parent will tell you that the easiest way to get their kids to eat something is to have them involved in making it. Well, let's teach these families how to use Sunday, some time on Sunday, to make your own pasta sauce. to make your own chicken noodle soup. So you got a batch of it in the refrigerator. How to go shopping together and choose items so that you can create a real pantry at home where you have real ingredients, real base ingredients that you can combine to make anything that you want. So when you need to cook something, when you need to eat, you don't have to go somewhere and grab some fast food option. You have the ability to shop in your own pantry and prepare something healthy, or maybe just pull something out of the freezer that you already made and you're preserving it in the freezer, or you have things that you're jarring, vacuum sealing in jars and preserving that way. This is the kind of thing that you're capable of doing with your food TV channel, and we quite frankly need you to get to work on it. This is what a chef looks like. This is what a chef looks like. This is what a chef looks like. And this is what a home cook looks like. Those are all people who I've trained. I'm not a chef. I'm not even a home cook. I would have said I'm a grilled cheese level home cook, but after working with Chef Erin and seeing her make a grilled cheese sandwich, I realized that I can't even do a grilled cheese right. I am the least qualified person to be talking about cooking, but here I am teaching people how to not poison themselves and their family. And if I can do a video like this to help people make better food choices, imagine what you could do if you simply focused on sharing your knowledge instead of worrying about looking fancy. You didn't learn how to cook in $1 million kitchen, chef, so why do you need a fancy kitchen to teach people? Why do you feel like you have to be living way better than people just to share your knowledge and teach them how to cook? What would your grandmother say about that? We're in a full-on national public health crisis, and it's because of what we eat. The additives that the food companies are putting in our food to make a profit are making all of us sick. Obesity is out of control. Diabetes is out of control. High blood pressure is out of control. Stroke is the 4th leading cause of death in the United States, and 80% of strokes are preventable through dietary changes, according to the CDC. And if you know anything about strokes, you know that the person doesn't have a stroke, their whole family has a stroke, because now that person is no longer able to care for themselves. And now we have all these weight loss drugs coming out that are just another form of poison. The food companies load up our food full of salt, sugar, and toxic additives, and they engineer it to be hyperpalatable, which means you can't stop eating it. And now you can't keep your weight under control. And then here comes the pharmaceutical industry with yet another drug that you're going to have to take for the rest of your life. Why are they doing this? Because nobody gets rich from us eating healthy. Selling poison is profitable. Selling healthy food that allows you to keep your weight under control and your blood pressure normal and your blood sugar level normal so that you're not taking any kind of medications. How would anybody get rich from that? Nobody would get rich from selling healthy food, which is why the food companies sell us poison that is illegal in countries all around the world. You can save lives with your cooking show. That's what's at stake here. While you're sitting on the sidelines complaining that you don't have a fancy enough kitchen, instead of teaching people with the kitchen that you have, people are making the wrong choices at the grocery store and feeding their families poison every single day, and they think they're eating healthy because they made it at home. You can do something about that, chef, but are you going to? There's a mother feeding this to her child right now because she doesn't know what's in it. How long are you going to sit on the sideline, chef, and do nothing to help that mother and her child? Because the food industry and the government are happy to poison them both and don't give a damn. Do you even care, chef? Do you even care? If you do, let's get your cooking show started so you can start helping people, including yourself, because you're going to get paid to do this. This brand Rouse, for example, you see me talking favorably about their products because it looks to me like they're trying to make an honest living by feeding people quality food instead of taking shortcuts and poisoning us for profit. I don't really know for sure that there's nothing problematic in Rouse ingredients list because, again, I'm the least qualified person to be talking about this, but at least I'm trying. If you look into Rouse products and you like them and you make videos where you use and recommend their products, you can then reach out to the people at Rouse about a sponsorship agreement. And you can do this with other food companies as well. You can have the food channel on YouTube where people can go to learn what to buy and what to avoid at the grocery store. And before you know it, companies that make quality food will be reaching out to you about sponsorship opportunities because they want to be featured on your channel that people trust as a place to learn about healthy food. This is how you build a business where you do well for yourself financially by doing good out in the world. That's how this works, chef. You do the work and then you get paid. I get so many chefs contacting me saying their goal is to get sponsors when they don't even have a cooking show and haven't even made a single video demonstrating that they can be a good product sponsor. So they've done none of the work necessary to achieve what they say they want. Is that you, chef? Do you have cooking show goals that you've done absolutely nothing to make happen? Let's change that today. Use the link in the description box to join my Cooking Show Accelerator, where I can help you get your cooking show started in as little as 10 minutes. There's tons of resources in there that answer every question you have so you can get out of your own way and start helping people. America needs you, chef. Parents need you to help them feed their kids healthy, whole food so they don't end up obese with diabetes and high blood pressure and a bunch of other chronic conditions that will put them on medication for the rest of their lives. The medicine we need is healthy food, and if you don't teach folks how to use food as medicine, whose job is it, chef? I'm here to help you teach people, but I can't make you do it. You have to decide to step up and use your cooking skills to save lives.